Hey friend, Michelle Dennis Evans here. Welcome to Creator to Write, where we turn blank pages into finished work. You'll be encouraged, inspired, and learn practical strategies to move forward with your writing, whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your craft. And if you're looking for ways to support your creative work with an additional income stream, I'd love to chat with you. Please reach out on social. Now for today's episode. On today's author interview, I have the beautiful Jenny Woolsey. How are you?
Hi, Michelle. I'm really great, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so lovely to have you here. We have met a few times in person, so it's lovely to have this chat through Zoom. And let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am Australian. I live in Queensland, which is sort of the top east for those who don't live in Australia. Just in a little, just north of the capital city of Brisbane. I was born with a rare craniofacial syndrome called Crouzon syndrome, which affected how my skull and my face formed. I had multiple surgeries growing up. I live with low vision. Because of that, I sit just outside of legally blind. I do have to use a long cane to help me, or a white cane people call it, to help me navigate the world. I am a single mum. I've had two marriages, both unfortunately were domestic violence. I've had to escape those and deal with those. I have three weirdly wonderful children, as I call them. Two of them have my craniofacial syndrome as well, and my youngest has Down syndrome and autism. So I live in a world that
It's weirdly
is
wonderful.
is weirdly wonderful. I don't know what regular is. I don't know what normal, whatever that is. I live in my world. And also I write and I mentor writers as well. And I like to volunteer. So I volunteer with Special Olympics and Women's Writers Queensland.
So what brought you into writing? When did you first start writing? And
Yeah, so like many writers, writing was a passion for me when I was a little girl. I still have the little writing book, exercise book, which says Jenny's stories on it, that I started in year 3. And I
wow.
would spend my lunch hours. I had a friend who also liked to write. And it just went through the years. English was always my passion, my best subject. I became a school teacher, a primary teacher, and teaching English and writing stories and also doing art were my favourite subjects to teach. I left teaching in 2014. I actually had burnout. Basically, I was being superwoman, as many of us did, and I broke. I wasn't looking after myself. I was really lost. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to become a school chaplain. I did a certificate in youth work, but God said, no, that's not happening. Shut the door. I tried studying other things. Nothing happened. God shut the door. And I went, well, I had so much going on in my head. My mental health wasn't good at the time at all. So I thought, I'm going back to my writing. And it stemmed from there. It just became a passion, an obsession, and it's continued on.
Yeah, awesome. An obsession. I could totally. What do you write? What are you writing at the moment and what do you write? Yeah.
Yeah, so I write a variety of things. Behind me, I've got my first book I published. I'm an indie publisher. Was Ride High Pineapple, and the main character has my craniofacial syndrome, Crouzon syndrome, and Izzy, who's the main character, is based on my eldest daughters and my experiences. And so, even though it's fiction, the main character is a combination of, yeah, the two of us. And like I put in there a speech that my daughter gave to her year 8 class, but I just changed it to fix the story. The second one is Simon Says. I wrote that for guide dogs, Queensland, Australia, to
Mhm.
raise for them, and the child has retinitis pigmentosa. So the other, I've written 8 middle grade one's about to come out, so 9. They're all based on some type of difference or a disability. It may be a magical book. It may be an animal with 3 legs. It may be divorce, domestic violence. There's a range of things. So that's what I started off doing. I moved into mentoring people with disabilities with their memoirs. So I'm currently writing a memoir about my daughter who has Down syndrome and autism, her journey through mainstream school. She's just finished year 12 and is now working. And there's not too many students with Down syndrome who go through mainstream school. So I want to encourage parents who want to follow that journey. And I also write poetry. I've gone back to writing poetry, which I loved as a child, teenager particularly. And I write short stories, which are just on, all of my different themes. And I try and enter as many competitions as I can.
Yeah. Sound like you're a prolific writer.
Yeah,
Now,
I love it.
yeah, you mentioned indie. You're an indie author. Some people mightn't know what that is. So that is when you basically outsource or you do the whole thing yourself, whether it's you personally or finding an editor and a cover designer or so as an indie author, people kind of do it themselves rather than going to a publisher. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I made myself a publisher.
Hmm.
I taught myself how to set out the book. I do outsource the cover. I'm not a book designer for the cover or a graphic designer, and I believe that should be professionally done. I get all my books professionally edited as well. When I started, publishers weren't looking for books about disabilities and difference. So I just started the journey. I had these stories I felt needed to be out in the world for children to read. So I just learned and went for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic because it is good to read for the children who aren't sitting in the whole mainstream slipway that they can read about somebody who's not quite mainstream. It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. And so when you come up with an idea, how do you get it through to completing it? What's your
Yeah, so my ideas a lot of them come from my children. Like I wrote a book, I've got it here, Amy and Phoenix. Can you see that?
Yep.
Um, I took my daughter, my mum with Down syndrome. We went to a caravan park, and she loved feeding the animals. And I love the story also of Charlotte Webb, which is about the runt pig. So those two things were the catalyst for Amy and Phoenix. It's about a 3-legged lamb, and Amy wants to save him from being put down, and so it will be there's 3 in the series, and I've modernized it obviously to bring it into our era, but things like that, just ideas just come to me and I work them. I'll I do like to set out what I'm going to do. It can change along the way, but I don't like, there's a thing called pantser for those who don't know, where you just sit down and write anything.
Mhm.
That's not me. I like to have an outline, even if it changes along the way. I need to know that I've got inciting incidents, which are your major things that happen along the way, and your climax and your end, and then once I've written don't just write one draft, multiple drafts. When I'm happy with it, then I send it to my editor, who will give me a structural edit. She'll look at it and go, this works, that works. No, that doesn't work. There was one manuscript I sent to her and she said, no, actually, I don't think that works. And I went, well, I'm just going to scrap it and start again. And that was okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it goes on from there to be reworked and reworked, because I'm a perfectionist, reworked and reworked until I'm really happy with it. And then it goes back to the editor for final, editing.
Hmm. Yes. Awesome.
The
Uh,
long process. as you know.
It's a long process. And
Yeah,
I like to say, I feel like my eyes might bleed if I have to read this one more time, but I always have to read it one more time. It gets to that
absolutely.
point.
Yeah.
Yes. Gets to the point where I'm so sick of my story that I wonder why I've even written it.
Yes,
But
exactly.
then if I leave it for a couple of months and read it again, I go, oh, it's actually okay.
I just love that when you pick up your book after a while, like, and you go, oh, did I write that? That was
Oh,
actually,
that's okay. It's not as bad as I thought.
yeah.
Oh, we're a crazy bunch, us authors. Alrighty. So, what do you find to be the hardest part about being a writer?
The hardest part for me is when you're finished and you have your book,
Mhm.
um, and you have to try and get you know you believe in it. You want people, children, to read your story or read your books, but people you're not known. You're not a celebrity. I'm also an introvert. I have social anxiety, so all of those things make the marketing difficult. So
Mm.
for me, it's the selling. The selling of the books is the tricky part.
And where do you sell most of them? Do you rely on online sources or
I
market or
Yeah, so I do both. I go to the markets because I also make pottery. So I
uh-huh.
take the pottery with me. So I have my books and my pottery, and I go to conferences and things like that, and word of mouth and online. All
Mm,
my books are available on
awesome.
online
I'll
bookstores.
pop all those links in the show notes so
Yeah,
everyone can come visit you and find out where to get them from.
yeah, that'd be great.
But yes, it's not easy. And I don't think many people realize how hard marketing the book is after it's written, because even if we go through a publisher, as an author, we're still expected to market our own
That's
books
right,
a lot
exactly.
now.
Yeah,
Gone are the days of publicists,
yes,
unless
that's
you're famous.
true. Yeah, you're right.
What have you learned through connecting with readers and mentoring aspiring writers?
I've learned that I'm able to help other people and I'm able to give people hope. We have hope through Jesus, obviously, with our faith, but many people don't have hope. So I have found that my children's books bring hope, and also I've had people read my Be Weirdly Wonderful and they cry, and I'm like, why are you crying? And then
Mm.
going, oh, it's such a beautiful story, and we can see what you've been through and that you've come out the other side, and how well you're doing. So that's what I love, that all that time and effort I've put into it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the hope. Do your books have that faith element through them or?
They do. They're not Christian books per se, but
Mhm.
they all have church in them or Jesus in them. Um, One of them, Land of Britannica, actually have faith, hope, love at the
Yeah.
beginning. The greatest of these is love. My Be Weirdly Wonderful book has parts in it for Christians as well.
Mhm.
But I want everybody to read my books. I don't just want Christians to read them. I worked in a mainstream primary school, and I always felt God planted me there for a reason. Jesus loved everyone,
That's right.
so should we.
Yeah. Being inclusive. I love that.
Hmm.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me here today. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, please hit that now. And thank you for watching through to the end. What words of wisdom would you like to leave any aspiring writers out there, Jenny?
Your writing might not be great when you start, and you might not think it's great, but that doesn't matter. Just start, and you'll learn as you go. And don't be put off by people saying it's not that great, because you will learn, you will get better. I found that when I first had a critique, people actually said my writing wasn't any good, and I cried, but I
Mm.
picked myself up, pulled up my pants, and went, all right, well, I just need to learn more, and I will get better as time goes on. So just keep going, enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process. I
Enjoy the process.
agree. And it's okay to cry when someone
Yeah.
tells you it's not good.
Yeah.
I've had many a teary.
Yes.
And we get better and our writing shows.
Right.
And yeah, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing to get better and to grow.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
It is.
don't take rejections to heart would be the other thing. because there's a lot of, you put things into competitions and you think you've written a good story, but you don't win, or you may submit to traditional publishers and, you know, you're not selected. It can all get very disheartening, but I think you've got to be resilient as a writer and have some self-belief as well that what you're doing is the right thing and is good. And don't lose the enjoyment factor, because otherwise I think it would be too easy to give up.
Yeah. And it just mightn't be the list that publisher is looking for at that point in time. And in competitions, it's subjective. It's just people judging it. If it's not their taste, they're not going to give you the award. So we don't all like every book we read. So we just have to stay true to who God's created us to be and create more books that we know somebody's going to read and love and enjoy. So right in our own laneway. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jenny.
Thanks for hanging around till the end. Please remember to leave a review if you've enjoyed this podcast and share it with a friend. You never know who is wanting to get those words out of their head and into a book.